Winter is coming. To IMAX, beheadings, dragons, and bloody battles will now be larger than life because IMAX is teaming up with HBO to bring Game of Thrones to the big screen, marking the first time a TV show will be seen on IMAX. Rich Gelfond is the CEO of IMAX, and he's here with me and Stephanie.
I'm afraid of Game of Thrones that close.
It's not only the closeness, it's how real it is, because the production quality is so great in Game of Thrones. So when we tested it, we thought, let's see how it looks. But when we saw it, I mean, those dragons flying at you, it's pretty intense. You should be afraid.
Rich, how did this come together, the partnership with IMAX and HBO?
So we had some low-level discussions with them saying, hey, your brand is cool, our brand is cool, the audiences overlap, fanboy audiences. Is there some project we should do together? And then the creators of Game of Thrones came up with the idea of giving us some footage to test and see how it looked. So we took some of their footage, we converted it to IMAX, and in IMAX, just to remind you, it's not just hardware that's different, it's actually we use proprietary algorithms to up-res the software. And we looked at it, we're like, wow, this looks really great. And then once we concluded it would look really good, the business people got involved, and we decided, what episodes, what date, how do you market it, all kinds of things.
So talk to us about that. What are the details?
So the details are it's the last 2 episodes of last year, along with a special exclusive trailer created for IMAX that's going to show 3 minutes of this year and what's going to happen.
So only 3 minutes? Only 3? It just speaks to how much people love this program. You're going to be showing 2 episodes that we've already seen and only 3 new minutes. How much does it cost for someone to go see that?
Well, let me answer your statement first. So 2 episodes you've already seen, but you've seen them on television. You haven't seen them in IMAX. So this is going to be like a reawakening. It's going to be the first time you've seen them this way. It's going to be an aha moment for you. And then, if it was more than 3 minutes, people wouldn't wait around to see the season opening episode. It would be like taking your whole show and using it as a trailer for your show. We want to give people enough so they're excited and they feel they're getting something special, but not so much that, they're not interested in seeing the upcoming season.
Then why not do a marathon of all of last season?
We'll see. I mean, this is a test. It's the first time, as Eric said, that we've ever done a TV episode and repurposed it for IMAX. It's, the industry's changing, and I'm sure we'll get into that. All industries are changing. And I think, let's see how this goes. And if it goes well, we've talked to other content creators about doing something like this in IMAX soft periods. And soft periods is a really important point, because you wouldn't do this the same week that Avengers is coming out or that Star Wars is coming out. But you have shoulder periods, which are January, February, September, August.
What does that mean, a shoulder period?
It means it's not a blockbuster time of year. It means people generally don't go to the movies as much, and big blockbuster films aren't released. So in those periods, you want to keep people in the habit of going to movies. You want to give them content that'll draw them to movies, and that's part of the overall picture here.
What does this say, Rich, about the direction that IMAX is taking and the blurring of the lines between different media, certainly different visual media, and the convergence between the big screen and the small screen?
What it says is that we want to bring more and more people to theaters. There's obviously increased competition from in the home. And in fact, that's part of what powered IMAX to where it is today. So as screens got bigger and as windows shortened and as gaming became available, less people were going to theaters. So we created an IMAX, a reason to go to theaters, which is this enhanced experience, the best way you could see it, feel like you're in the movie, something really special. So as in-home entertainment continues to evolve with episodic TV, which is drawing bigger and bigger audiences and paying higher production costs, why not expand the number of devices you can see it on, right? So now with HBO Demand, you'll be able to buy the product, the show individually. You obviously have cable, you have streaming coming across. So why not enable consumers not only to choose between their at-home devices, but also to get the best device in the world to see content, which is an IMAX theater. And I think we see our innovative goal as responding to the world's changes and making sure people have the opportunity to see content in the best way possible.
Does that mean we're going to get Star Wars, Avengers, Jurassic Park, Terminator, all these big movies coming out this year that, in my mind, would be extraordinary in IMAX?
Well, they are in IMAX. They're not at the same time in the home, and that's a good thing, because for blockbuster movies, you want to make sure windowing exists, and because that's the best way to maximize the value of the product. But, and in fact, all those movies we're having in IMAX theaters this year.
So
but
could this be your biggest year ever in terms of bottom line, the fact that you have all 4 of those movies in 1 year?
I think this year is very promising going into it. The caveat I'd give you is it's the movie business, and it's somewhat like the stock market business. You can't pick everything in advance, and it doesn't always work that way. But under portfolio theory, which is the way we look at it, if you have a broad enough portfolio, we're very excited about 2015.
So windowing makes a whole lot of sense, but there are times when you do want to do simultaneous releases, do you not?
Yes.
When does that make sense?
I think when it makes sense is when it's more a slower period of time, so you can't recoup necessarily the investment you can with a blockbuster. And so it would be what we were talking about as shoulder periods before. And I think what I call more specialized content. So, Star Wars, cajillions of people are going to go see Star Wars, right? And the windowing is definitely going to work. That is a technical movie term. If you need more explanation, I'll go into it. But,
Cazillions.
But on things...
Zillions or cajillions?
Was it cajillions?
I can't disclose that. But in something like Game of Thrones, what you're doing is taking content that's been monetized, audiences love it, and you're giving them the opportunity. And remember, this is something where viewing parties are a big deal. There's a social aspect to it. And last night, as a matter of fact, after this news started to come out, online lit up with people saying, isn't this the coolest thing to do?
So people are getting wind of this, but one last question before we have to run. How do you market it? How do you make sure that enough Game of Thrones...
Do you have to market it? Maybe you don't
Game
have
of Thrones
to.
fanatics come to see it?
We're going to find out. This is the first time we've done it. We're doing most of the marketing with HBO online, and we're going to see, how that works. We're going to learn. We're going to do a lot of market research and find out. But my sense is that this is a viral enough property where...
The Game of Thrones Twittersphere is already in fuego in less than 24 hours. I don't think you're going to need a billboard on the West Side Highway.